refresh part 2, and we have our 3 people with us again this afternoon. We're going to get started because there are 2 sessions. The first one this afternoon is for beginners, and then the next one coming up in about an hour's time, it will be for intermediate. So some people who kind of know what is going on with Google, and you just want some, they refer to it as touch-up skills to get by. And for this one, this particular one is for very very much so beginners, those who really want to get an understanding from scratch what it is to open an account and initiating the process of creating a classroom, a Google Classroom. So this is for you, okay, from now until the next hour. Okay, so my name is Dr. Dwayne Dice, and I'm the chair for the Education Task Force in JDTAN Network. I am here with Mrs. Ortavia Manning-Dixon and Mr. Larkland Morley. I'm gonna give them each a little bit to introduce themselves because we're gonna take this in segments. So I'm gonna go first, and then Miss Ortavia Manning will go next, and then Mr. Marley will go for the next 15 to 20 minutes. So, and then we take some questions from you guys. We'll look in the chat. So if you want to drop your questions or comments in the chat, and we'll take them from there. So originally, for those of you who don't really know me, originally I'm from Jamaica. I grew up in Jamaica, and I've gone to school in Jamaica and get educated in Jamaica as well as in the US. And so we built our platform, academic and professional platform here, and we want to give back something to Jamaica over the long term so that we can build up our education system as well as other systems too in Jamaica. So that's why I am here. And I'm the chair for the Education Task Force in JDTAN. Okay, I teach, I live in Washington, D.C., and I teach, and I also operate a mentoring program in school, and I write. I'm a published author and speaker. I love to talk, so I talk on issues related to education, just to position it a bit so that I do not talk anything with nonsense. Okay, so I'm gonna get started here after Miss Ortavia Manning-Dixon, if you want to share a little bit about yourself, and then Mr. Larkland, and then we get into the meat of the matter why we're here.
Hi everyone, happy Sunday. And as Dr. Dice says, my name is Mrs. Ortavia Manning-Dixon. That's weird for me to say Mrs. Ortavia Manning-Dixon. Okay. I am currently an out-of-classroom teacher with a title of Intervention Coordinator for a Title I school in Los Angeles. And by Title I, I mean that it's a school that basically services students who are from a low socioeconomic background. So we get a lot of funding to assist us with that. It's a public school. I'm also a math intervention coach at my school site. I was born in Jamaica, grew up, spent half of my life there, and a past student of Shortwood Teachers College. I had half of my education here in the United States, and this is an opportunity for me to give back to my country, and of course, to do something that I truly, truly enjoy and share my knowledge with teachers from my own culture, which is more rewarding than what I do here. And that's that for me.
Okay. All right. This is Larkland Morley here. I actually grew up in Jamaica as well. Grew up in Clarendon, to be specific. I started my education in Jamaica. Did some of it in the UK, some in the US, a little in Canada as well. In terms of what I'm doing now, I actually work at Facebook in technology group. I actually help to keep the infrastructure running, looking at various security threats, especially with the election coming up. So, you know, in terms of my past, I actually work for companies like IBM. I work for Cisco Systems, many of those technology companies. In terms of my side job, I'm actually the chair for the technology task force as well. I just started that recently. And other stuff that I'm doing, I actually am a member of the British Computer Society. So I do assessments for chartered engineer in the UK and chartered IT professional. So I'm actually still involved in the education process as well there in terms of assessing people. And, you know, I have to say that teachers got me where I am. So I have to be very thankful for what you have done. Well, the ones in the past, but what you are doing now for future leaders. So I know anywhere you go, teachers are not appreciated in terms of getting what they deserve, but, you know, we are here to help and make sure you know, give back to you as well. So that's it for me.
Yes, that's it for you, Lachlan, until your time to talk again. Okay, so because we have limited time here, because we want to spend an hour or so on each level, we're gonna dig right into it now. So I'm gonna share my screen with very basic login information for the Google Classroom, and then I'm gonna take you guys through really quickly the very basic to get into setting up an account. All right, so let me share my screen here. Some of you might have seen this already a little bit earlier. So Google Classroom. The integrated suite, which is the Google, let me back up a little bit. All of these things you will see a part of the suite, among others, and we're going to go through some of those in our team here today. Google Classroom, Meet a little bit, Slides, Docs, and the calendar. To access it, you basically need the app, but I'm going to skip over the app because we want you to use Google Chrome. So if you want to use Google Chrome for every login that you will do with Google Classroom, it is way better than the app. You have more features that, and also you can manipulate the Google Classroom as it is through Google Chrome than if you use the app. So my suggestion is that you use Chrome, use a browser as much as possible, especially Chrome, because it's more efficient to do so. All right, so when we're going on, we'll go on Chrome. If you use the app, use it just to access information at your fingertips. So if you want to check on something that a student might turn in, you can do that through the app. Or if you want to check on messages or send a little email or so on, or post something on there, you can do that. But as a teacher, if you want to manipulate the system totally, use Google Chrome. Okay, so when we get in, this is how you get in. You're going to Google Chrome, going to Google or Gmail, and type in your email address. Okay, you type in your email address. Once you finish typing in your email address, or if you don't have an account right now, you could go down to create an account. So if you go on the login page looking like this for Gmail, go to create an account, and you can fill out all the credentials that they need to create an account. It's not difficult. Once you create your account, you'll get this page. After you sign out, to sign back in, you'll get this page. So once you have your account already, your Gmail account, you have this page to sign in and put in your email address. When you put in your email address and click next, it will take you to your password. So you enter a password in there, and it will take you directly into your Gmail account. Okay, so we're going to get into the Gmail account now. So I'm going to pull up my Gmail account and go through the Gmail into Google Classroom from there. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this because this is just for to log in to Gmail. So let me share my other screen here and into. So once you sign in through those, you'll get straight into Gmail. I kind of not showing my messages in there, just to show you what it will look like. Here you'll have your messages and so on. But what we want to focus on is over on the right side here. These 9 little dots right next to your your picture or your little icon there for you. It says Google Apps. Once you roll your mouse over it or your cursor over it, you click on it and you will have quite a few things there that you can choose from. Our interest is down here. So if you scroll down through all of these other icons, just for beginners, you want to look, as you scroll down, look for Google Classroom. Okay, scroll all the way down, and you'll see Google Classroom, right? It looks just like this. Okay, once you click, so let me back up a little bit. Remember that you sign into your Gmail account and you have all your messages here. I'm hiding mine here, and then you come over here to the 9 little dots to the right here, right next to your little picture, if you have any picture on there. If not, you'll have your little icon there, what they use to represent you. Click on the 9 little dots and you have all the Google related apps dropping down here. So you scroll down all the way down until you see Google Classroom. It looks like a classroom with some little people on there. It's green, a yellowish orange border. Okay, click on it. Once you click on it, you won't see anything like this. You'll see it blank with some information here, because I have two demo classrooms right here. So you have these to look at, but you won't see anything there except some information that Google will give you to set up classroom for you. All right, what you want to do is on the right again, click on the plus sign up here, and you use it to create a classroom or to join a classroom. You don't really want to join a classroom, you want to create your own so you can add students. So let's go ahead and create a classroom. So click on create the classroom. And then of course you'll have this information from Google. It says using Google Classroom at a school with students. That's a question. And you would say, yes, you're using it, or no, you're using it in your mind, but you have to accept their what do you call this? It's kind of like a privacy note. It says, I've read and understand the above notice, and I'm not using Google Classroom, using Classroom at a school with students because it's your private email, if you're using your private email. Of course, if you're using it, what they want you to do is to sign up for free with Google G Suite for Education. So you might want to take that to the next level with this. So if you sign up with Google, let's take a look at this one. So it goes through all of this and you go get started for free to sign up for that. In the interest of time, you can go through this and sign up for free right here. In the interest of time, I'm going to go back to my classroom just to set up one for you. So once you have this page set up, then you click on, yes, you accept that. You won't use it to that. Then it takes you to create the classroom. So you want to give your classroom a name. So I'm going to give my classroom name Miss Baker, one of my favorite teachers. Okay, and you can skip over a section here. If you're going to be teaching different forms, then you can put maybe form 1. So let's say I'm a teacher of mathematics and I'm teaching for grade 7, 7-1, 7-2, 7-3, or if I'm teaching elementary school and I have 2 different classes, so I would name one form 1, okay? Let's call it form 1 or form I for now. And the subject is math, okay? All right, let's leave it as math for now, because you have the drop-down menu. Once you click on math to choose any one of these. Okay, we're gonna leave it as math. I'm teaching mathematics. Better yet, put out the full name. All right, and my room number is 101. Let's say the room is 101, B101, it's Baker. Okay, then click on create. Once you click on create, it will work its magic, and you'll have a nice little classroom looking like one of those ones coming up. Okay, then so it opens up into your regular classroom with Miss Baker on there. That's you. Okay, and so you have four little sections up here. You have the stream, which is what is highlighted here, which is the front page of your classroom. You have classwork. You have people, which is the people who are going to be in your class, like students and teachers, or teacher if you're going to do it just yourself. And then you have grades. So we're going to talk about each of them very briefly. So you have, and over on this side, you see the little gear on the right side here next to the 9 little dots, you have the setting. And that's the setting right there. Over on the left side here, you have 3 lines, and these will take you into your calendar. It will take you into review, and you're different. If you have more classrooms, eventually you'll have more than Miss Baker. So it will take you into those classrooms. Now, if you're asking, what if I'm teaching different, maybe grade levels or subject, you want to create another classroom just like this one, and it will appear right here for those other students. So to every class that you have, you want to create one of these classrooms for them, and it will appear here. If you want to archive a class, which is put it in long-term storage, you can archive the class right here. So you can access it later on or tomorrow or whichever day, but it's in storage, long-term storage. And of course, if you look at the bottom here, it has settings again. This settings is very similar to the one on the right over here next to the 9 dots. Is very similar. So they just give you another setting there. Okay, let's take you through stream for a little bit. If you're posting something, so click on stream and you're posting something. So let's say you're posting for all your students in this particular class. You're saying, hello students, welcome to my class. Students, and you might want to greet their parents too, because they are the ones who are going to see it when they have access to it. Hello students and parents, welcome to Miss Baker's class. I am very happy to have all of you with me this year. And this is your first welcome note, okay? Before you click post, you want to check on the areas around you. You have add, you can add, if you click on add, you can add from Google Drive. We're going to talk about that later on. Mr. Marley or Ms. Ortega Manny will deal with that later on. And Ortega will also talk about link and files and so on to add these to setting up an assignment. Okay, but you can also add stuff here from a link, such as a website that you want to put there, or a file that you have on your computer you want to upload it, like a welcome letter that you want to put there to welcome parents and students tomorrow morning, you know, or if you have a YouTube video that is on YouTube already and you want to provide the link right here, you can do that from here. You can click on it, takes it there, you find it, you put it right there. On the side of the post right here, there's a little arrow there. So you want to click on the arrow and just say post if you want to post it right away. But you can schedule the post so that it does not happen right away, but it happens tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. If you want to change it, you can change it. If you don't want to change it, you can leave it just as it is for October 5th. This one here is the time, it's 8 o'clock if you want to schedule it for that time, okay? There's another button there if you want to save the draft. So let's say you're not really finished with it, you want to save it as a draft, you save it as a draft. Now I'm gonna post it now because of what we're doing here. Post it, and it pops up right there as a nice little notification for them. All the people in your class here will get it. Once they're in your class, they accepted your invitation. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So this is your stream. So to post anything right here, okay? Anything at all you can post. Right next to the stream is upcoming events and things that are due. So once you start assigning work to your students, you will see it popping up here, and they will see it also, and they will see the due date, okay? Now, one other thing that I'm gonna go through now with you is how you can change your theme up here. So we can talk about that. This is says select your theme. You can change the entire background in this little section, this little rectangle. We can click on select theme. We can choose any one of these. If it is math, go over to math. If it is English or history, you can go there. Let's choose some math little objects here for math. And you have science, math and science, so you need to choose maybe the math one. So I'm going to choose that one with the compass and the triangle and the ruler. So you select that theme and it changes up here. You can also click on this little arrow down here and it shows you the subject that you're teaching and the room. So the students will see that as well. Now, if you're saying that, oh, I don't want any of these themes, you can also upload a picture from your computer. It says upload photo. You can upload it from your computer. So you download one from the internet, save it, and then upload it. Or if you take a picture and you want to put it there, you can. Okay? So that's in a nutshell for posting something on here and changing the theme here. The other thing is when you post something on this stream, you can click on these three little dots in the corner of the stream that you just posted the notification. You can edit it, you can delete it, you can copy the link for it, and you can reuse it again if you copy the link for it. Okay? So you can do anything with it even if you post it already. The other thing is the one at the top here. It says move to top. If you move it, if you have other notification and announcements here, you can also keep this at the top. For example, if you have a dozen down there and you say, oh, I want this one to stay at the top so that as soon as students come in, they can actually see it, then you can click this button here that says move to top. And this entire announcement will be at the top, just like how it is at the top right now. It will stay at the top, okay? So you can do that. Let's skip over to classwork a little bit, and Miss Ortiva Manning will go through that in quite more details with you guys. But you can create assignments here, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different areas that we can look at here. More so 3 or 4 areas that you're going to have to know more and do more about in your class. So you're going to talk about that with Miss Manning Dixon in a little while, okay? To create assignments. All right, the next part is assigning people. So if you haven't had any students in there, you might want to do that first before you even go to the stream to post notifications. You might want to set up your class by putting in students. So you want to click on this little man here with the, or girl, it doesn't matter, with the plus sign, and you want to type in their names here, and if you have their email addresses, then that will pop up. If you have them in your Google email, then that will pop up here. If you don't, then a nice way, a very quick way to get them to become a part of your classroom is to click this copy link here. So you copy the link and you post it in anything. You can post it in an email to them. So you can create a group email, post it in there, and then once they accept, they will follow this link. They'll get in there, they'll register, and then they become a part of your classroom. In this case, you will have quite a lot populating right here, names showing up right here, okay? If you want to add another teacher also, you can click on this little guy here with the plus, and you can add a teacher there also, just like how you add students. You can add a teacher, except that the teacher doesn't have a link that you can copy and paste for the teacher. So the teacher will have to have an email address, okay? Active and ready to be added. So that's for people, to add people to it. Another thing is for grades, and later on we'll talk about grades where it populates in here for you when you grade student work. Okay, it will create a nice grade sheet right here for you in there. Okay, so in a nutshell, the only majority of the time that you should spend really to focus on right now to start the school year is to focus on people, get students in your class, know your students, get them in your class, and if you have another teacher, you need to invite them here by clicking on these buttons, okay? To invite them by email or name, get them to become a part of your class. Also, you need to spend time in classwork designing assignments for them, for students, any different type of assignments that you need to design for them, learning activities, that is. And also the first part that we talk about is stream, that you need to spend some time here giving them information in your stream. The last thing in my section here before I hand over to Miss Manning Dixon is the setting. You can change your setting by clicking on the little gear up there. You can change it the name that you give to yourself here, your class. You can also write a description for your class. What is it about? It is about mathematics or reading or language arts or social studies or history. You can write a description about it there. That is an awesome class, ready and waiting to learn all the concept of math, okay? You can change the form if you don't want to write form 1. You could change it as SBS something, or you can do it as 71, 72, or whatever you want to put for it, and so on and so forth. The last thing is the general setting. Go through this, guys. It has quite a few things that you can change if you want to change anything there, which is pertaining to the link for your class. You can copy it from there. The thing that I didn't go through from the beginning is the code that you can, it's right up under your name or next to your name on the stream, this code that you can also use to come into class. Your students can use to log into the class, to join the class, instead of using the link, the long link, that you can give them that to come in the class. And you might ask, where do they use this? When at the beginning, where we click on the little plus sign to create a class, the first part says join a class. So your students can use the link there, this little code, to join the class from there. Okay, streams, you can change the setting for streams so that your students will not get to post on the stream. Only you alone can post in there, post your comments or so on your team. So you can go through these. You can't go wrong with them. If you make a mistake by putting something here, you can go back in there and change it. Okay. And if I were you right now, I wouldn't change grades so much. Just focus on setting up your class to get students to become active, and then you can roll into the grading system. Right now, by default, it's set as no overall grade for students. They won't see any grade right now. Okay. All right. I'm going to turn over here due to time to Miss Ortavia Manning to take it away for the next 15 or 20 minutes or so. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing.
All right, so following Dr. Dice, I'm going to go into creating assignments. Also looking at how to grade using this and what other tools we can use for assessment. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. Now, last week we created one together, and I wanted to just go ahead and use the same, sorry, let me move this over. I wanted to go ahead and use the same class that we created last week, so that if you're already on there, you have access to some of this already. Going in, I want to show you something. This is a quick way for you to review the students' work. So on your students platform, this is kind of like a cheat sheet to get in. So they'll see the classes if they have multiple classes, the calendar, of course, that shows them what is due and what's coming up. And to review is what you see on your end as a teacher. If you click on to review, it is going to take you into the classes that you have and the assignments that you have already given. However, if you're the student, you're going to not see to review, your vision will be to do. So this would be the student's first point of clicking to figure out what do I have that is upcoming that I need to turn in, do and turn in. Now I'm gonna go back to the main class. By the way, this is your class dashboard. And for your stream, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I use stream for in my class. One way is for announcements for parents and students. Another way is a discussion board. So if I'm having a classroom discussion and I want to do an informal assessment to see, did my kids understand the concept? I might pose a question here Like, what is one thing that you learned today? Again, I can repost the link to the slides I used to teach the students for differentiation, of course. And I can post it, again, just refreshing based on what you just learned, and post it immediately. I can schedule that for homework for the next day, or I can save as a draft until I'm finished preparing all documents. For just the sake of this, I'm going to just post that, and feel free to answer as you move on towards the end of the day. But now today I need to post assignments. One thing I like to do before posting assignments is I do my lesson plan and I plan my slides or my docs first. You know, good habit for a teacher. Don't get here until you've done that. So there are several tools that we use when we're creating assignments. I can go and I can do a Google Doc. If I have a reading assignment and more like a multiple choice questionnaire that I want the kids to respond to, I can use my slides as a way of getting some work done. And also I can use my Jamboard. Sorry. I can use my Jamboard, which is right here. Okay. These are 3 ways that you can use to pose assignments. But let's say I'm getting ready to teach my lesson and I want to create slides for my lesson before going to the classroom and uploading those slides. I would click on Google Slides. Again, I'm going to these 9 dots known as your waffle board because it's shaped like a waffle. And then I'm going to click on slides. It's taking a little bit longer. And here, maybe I have slides already, or maybe I just want to go ahead and create a brand new slide. I would click on that plus sign. It's going to give me a new presentation, which I'm going to need to name. And the internet is a little bit slow. So right here, I'm going to change this untitled presentation and give it a name. And let's say I want to do English 101. And then just press the enter key and it will create it. Now, one thing, personally, I don't use the slide provided for me. I like to start with a basic slide. How do I do that? Right where this plus button is, this plus sign is, there's a little down arrow. Click on it, and I like to start with a blank slate. So I would go right here and click that. This would serve as my title slide. So I would write English 101, day 1. And another thing is I like to title the slides according to the assignment that I'm going to post. And of course you can put your name if you want to. I mean, it is good practice to name your slide, put your name on the side. Now I want to start with a blank slate. Now my focus point is right here. If you look at the top underneath the titles, you will see the text box. It's just a square with the letter T in it. Insert image. It has a picture right there and a drop-down box that should ask you which way do you want to share that image. There are shapes. So if you want like shapes like these, arrows, call outs. I like to use call outs a lot. Or if you're doing math and you need to add equations on there, this is a great way to add that. And then you have your lines. Your lines are good when you're teaching geometry because you can use lines to draw, arrows, you could use the elbow correctors. This one, for all you preschool teachers, you live here, the scribble, because this allows your kids to actually draw on the screen. Okay? And that all I did was click it and delete. and it gets rid of it. But this is one way you can get your kids to answer on an individual slide. So my text box, let's just say I'm going to add an image. I can do it from my computer or from the web. I live on the web because usually there are much better images than my pictures. And let's say I want to do an inclusion slide, and I'm going to look for something for a first day activity for kids to introduce themselves. I might have picture of students. And if you notice, I'm typing on this side of the screen because a new window opened. And it's going to give me different types of pictures depending on your grade level. Of course, that is how you're going to choose your pictures, right? Let's say I want to represent the kids, so I might look for, you know, some kind of activity where maybe I see Black students rather than, and of course you can make a picture of Black students to make it a little bit more specific for your class. Picture of Black students studying, and maybe choose something that is a little bit more culturally relevant, because you don't want to choose pictures with white kids if your predominant population is Black. So let's say I just chose the first one, don't blame me. So let's say I chose this one and I added a picture to my slide. Now I want to add text. So I'm going to just add the text box. All I did was click on the text box. It gives me a plus sign. Now I just lay the plus sign down by clicking on the screen. And now I can give it a slide. Introduce yourself, I mean a title. Introduce yourself. Now I can make this bigger by just highlighting it. And right here where you see the plus sign, 14 is the font size right now, but I want to make it bigger. I can just expand it. You can see I can also make it bold. It's already highlighted, so I can just click on the B and now it's bold. And now I want to make it in the center. So right here where you see this, one thing you should know is just run your mouse over it and you'll find the right thing, right? So here it says align. So there are different types of alignment. There's a left alignment, the right, the center, and then you have right. And then of course you just have the justify where it's just on both ends, the same. So here I'm going to center because I like that spatial view. I can also change my background by clicking on background. I can choose to change the color of the background of the slide, or I can decide to just choose an image. So maybe one of my favorites when you're dealing with the little ones, they always like stuff like bubbles or butterflies or something like that. Maybe I should do butterfly. I've done bubbles so many times. So let's go with butterfly. And what it's gonna do is bring up different butterflies. What you have to be mindful of is if you have words on your screen, you don't want it to interfere with, you don't want the background to interfere with it. So be cautious when you're choosing that for visibility, especially if you have special ed population. So here I'm putting my butterfly in the background. And what I'll do now that my butterfly is covered over here, I might change the position of my picture and the size of my picture just by using the arrows when it's highlighted to change the position of it. Now I click anywhere else. Now you have clear vision of my background, my, my title, and something else. Now, what the kids would have to do under your direction would be to include a text box on the slide to tell them where to put it, right? And right here, you can just put enter information. Uh-oh. And space here. And here is where you can put your shape or your call out. In this case, it would be like an arrow and an arrow down. And I'm going to add it right here so the kids know, well, you're gonna put it right here. Pull out my arrow And I'm even going to add color to my arrow, so I'm gonna fill it with red. So now the kids know exactly where they're going to start their writing, just for additional direction for them. They'll know, click on the slide and start entering your information right there. All right, so now let's say I want to add this now. So now I go back to my classroom. I've already created that. Once I create it, it is already in my drive. So I'm ready to add it. Go to my classwork and I'm going to hit create. And this is an assignment. It's not a quiz, it's not a question, it's not materials, it's an assignment. So I'm going to click on assignment. I'm going to give it the same title for uniformity and for easy access to my kids, English 101. And I'm going to write the instructions. So write something about yourself on slide 2. Look for the red arrow to help you where to begin. I could also have done this like click on the attached document, and then I could tell them what is step 2, blah, blah, blah. Then step 3, what is step 3, and so on. Now I'm ready to add my slide. These are just different ways that you can. So I'm gonna go to my drive. And because I just created this, if you notice, there are little titles here: recent, upload, my drive, and start. Now, definitely under recent because I just created this. So I can click on English 101 day 1. As you can see, it's right here, first thing I see. And then go to the bottom and click insert. And that's gonna fall here. Now, one thing to be cautious of is this little drop-down box here, because if I just leave it as students can view file, they will not be able to edit the file. So they cannot write on the file at that point. If I just go, they can edit the file, then everybody in the class can edit the same one file. So I always want to do make a copy for each child. Once I've done that, that gives everybody access to their own slide, which they can now in turn type on. Everybody will have access and they can type their answers on there. I say that again. Then I'm over here. Before I hit assign, I want to check all these areas here. So due dates, when should they turn it in? Let's say I'm giving them until the end of the week to turn in. Remember, you got to be flexible. Why do I need to be flexible? Because you are doing virtual learning and kids are inside their houses. They're not at school. So give them enough time to complete. So I'm going to give them all week to complete it. Your deadline is to complete it by October 9th on Friday. Then you want to make sure it's a topic, create a topic. Now, when you're setting up your classroom, one of the things that I like to do is set up the different subject areas in my setup section, and that eliminates me of having to create a topic. And then each of those folders would be subject based. So if it's English language, I would have had that and been able to create it here. In this case, we didn't do that, so I've got to create a topic. And this topic is going to be English language because that falls under that subject area. So everything that is English language, my kids would go into this folder and find it. That is another way for them to access the information. Now, rubric, you can add a rubric. I don't like Google rubric because I have to create it and I have to think about all the different ways. I have standard ones from my school. I use those. And I'm sure you guys are probably having rubrics already. And if you're not quite sure, I understand, What a rubric is? A rubric is a self-assessment tool that the students use. It helps them to see how you're going to grade them. So if you're going to grade them based on different areas, I can show you something here. If you're creating it, you would have to have a criterion title. So maybe language arts, then you would give the description. What is it that you are looking for? Meaning, what skill are you looking for? A skill of being able to, or students should be able to blah, 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 blah. How many points are you going to give for this assignment? What level are they? Now, levels are different for the student. So if you can add as many levels as you want. So say I'm going for a 5-point rubric here. My level 5, one level could be student mastered the skill. So show mastery. And this is quite subjective, and that's why I don't want to get too deep into it. I can add another level, and I can say this one would be for 4 points. For 4 points, students have good understanding, or student shows proficiency. Then I can add another level. If they're at a level 3, then student needs more practice. And then of course, for each of these, you have to explain what is mastery, what is proficiency, what does mean practice mean, and so on. Once you've done that, well, I have to add the criterion. So let's say a student introduce self. And right now I'm making up stuff, of course, right? So now I'd save that. That rubric would be here. And this is perfect for you high school teachers, definitely. Elementary grades 3 through 5-ish can use it. You can start teaching kids as young as 8 to 9 years old how to self-monitor themselves to make sure that they're answering the question to attain scores. And of course, that's the perfect way to get your kids to masters, to know what is it I need to do to get the perfect scores. And that's what students want to know in any case. So once you've done that, you can choose again, wherever you see an arrow down, always not be afraid to click it. There might be a choice for you. I don't like to release my work the night before. I like to do it at the start time of the day. So usually I would go for schedule, and then I would post the date and time. So if our start time is 8 a.m., I would go for 8 a.m. and I would just hit schedule. But of course, you still have the choice of going ahead and just go for the assignment or post immediately. Or if you still have more to do and you're not completed it yet, you can save it as a draft. But what if you don't like this assignment and suddenly, you know what, I want to delete this draft? You can hit the discard button and it will not show on your platform at all. Now, if you schedule this assignment, I'm going to show you what it's going to look like on your platform. It is not going to be dark. It's going to be grayed out like this, or like this. Actually, this is the one we just added. So as you can see, it's not ready yet. Now, if I go back and I edit it by clicking on these 3 little buttons, they're your friend. I can just go ahead and switch it out right now and change the date and time for view. I can go backwards and I can post it today and so on, right? So everything is essentially changeable. Nothing is written in stone. I'm gonna leave that there for now. All right, what if I have materials? I've recorded myself teaching. My students need to have access to the video because they are a different type of learner. They're not the traditional learner who's gonna see it and know it. What if they're more of a hands-on type learner? It will serve you best to record your lessons, pre-record them, and put them in materials. Also, you can create it. Say I gave homework assignment, but I noticed that half my class didn't understand, and I'd like an opportunity to give them a reteach without me being present, that we call asynchronous work, where they have to do the assignments on their own, then one thing you want to do is create that video inside your materials folder. And if you notice, it's the same outline, so you're doing the same thing. So it would be the title, description. Here, if you're creating, you have a choice of creating it 5 different ways, or you have a choice of just adding. I do want to take the time to talk about drawing. It's not a big component, but I know at my school, first grade teachers were struggling with kids typing because of fine motor skills. And preschool or state preschool also had that issue with kids' fine motor skills not being developed. So they're not necessarily able to use the typing keys as efficiently. So in considering that, we went for drawings for most of them, where we give we created documents where we can draw. And I just want to kind of show you a little bit. I'm not going to go into details with it because it's something that you actually can just play around with. Now you have the Ministry of Education has this, so it is free for Google Free Suite. So you live here again: lines, shape, the text box, and the insert. Now what they've been doing is have the kids present their answers. Say we're doing number bonds, they would have the kids draw their number bonds to show their work for adding. So let's say the question is 3 plus, come on, plus 2. And it's very hard for me. So if the kids have a tablet, it's easier for them. I have a map book that I'm using. So what you would do is put the parts in, parts, add them together. So you add your 3 circles real easily. And then your 2 more circles. And then you would tell the kids to add them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then they'd know, oh yeah, 3 plus 2 is 5. And they would have shown you the work and they would have turned it into you. So that is another tool that they can use. It is quite similar to the Jamboard as well, but it's another tool for them to use. Going in, if you have a document that you use, it's the same process. Create the assignment, create the quiz or the assignment, and you would add the Google Doc. I do want to show you the quiz. Now, Google has a form that you can use. Now, a lot of teachers I know just go straight on and create the quiz here. Click on it. And I'm kind of going faster through this because I do want to get to Jamboard. And for those of you who attended last week would have seen Mr. Morley showed you how to create the quiz. It's going to create a blank quiz like this. You always want to name it. So let's say it's mathematics. Then some people like to add a picture, like myself. I live at Google, so I don't do the drive. Less things saved on my own personal thing. I just go to Google Image and search for an image, and I'll just put math there, and different math images are gonna come up. Choose the one that's kid friendly. So if I'm in, say, kinder through 3rd, I might do something like this, you know, where there's some kind of picture there, or 2 plus 2 equal is, you know, that kind of thing. If I'm in upper grades, or even this for lower grades, and if I'm in upper grades, you know, high school, middle school years, I would choose something more like this. And let's say today I'm doing the early childhood people, make you happy. I would put my image in there. And then there's my image for the kids, right? Then I can start adding my whole title of image. Let's say the skill that we're testing is addition sets. And I put that there. kind of get the kids ready to know what am I going to be expecting from them. And then I would go into add in the questions. And once I add the question, let's say 2 plus 2 equals, and then leave it there. If I, right here, you will see the chart, right? A little drop down box again. These are ways you want the kids to do short answer, multiple choice, check boxes. If you want to do it different ways, upload their work, you know, stuff like that. You can add that in. For now, it's multiple choice. Once I do that, I put in the options. Let's say option 1 is 3. Then I want to add another option. Then maybe I'm going to put the right answer here. Let's say 4. Sorry, what did I do? Add option. Sorry, there you go. Option, let's see, the answer is 4. And just for the sake of time, I'm only going to do 2. But you know, multiple choice, usually you do 4 choices, A, B, C, or D. And then down here, the answer key, I have to tell the computer what the answer is. So of course I can add my answer and feedback after that. And I know I'm going over time. And then of course I want to add my points, 1 point. Okay. And then I would hit the done. One moment, I didn't add the answer. Sorry. Let's say 4 is the answer, save. Now, if you see right here, it would give the feedback to let the kids know, okay, 4 was the answer if they got it wrong, and so on. All right, and then you would hit the done key. But before you publish this, there's some things that you want to set up, like setting. You don't necessarily have to collect the email address. I would say don't do that because sometimes it creates a problem on the tablets when the kids need to answer. Limit 1 response. I like that because I don't want the kids to redo the test. I just want to see where they are. And you can submit answers after. I don't like to do that. I like to be able to show them and go over the quiz at the time that we're reviewing the answers. But of course, you have your boxes here that gives you, the teacher, the choices of how you want the respondents to see their answer. And by respondents, it means the students. And I think Marklin will go over that again. Another thing you must look out for is this button here that's marked required. You do want to make sure it's on, because if it's not on, the student will feel like I don't have to answer that question. It gives them a choice and it will submit without them answering that question. And there are more keys here, but that's the simplest form of that. So now my test is ready. I can hit the send button, and I really don't want to do that, but I'm going to do it anyhow. And send. Actually, it's want me to put the email in, so I'm not going to send it, but that's basically it in a nutshell. Let me see if there's any questions that I see 2 things there before I move on. Sorry. All right. Okay, and again, parent Google training will come up later this week, so we'll have a chance to get that out to them. So I'm just gonna put test 1 here, and then put instruction as complete, and then go ahead and assign, and that's now available to the classroom. Okay, so you'll see it on here. All right, so showing right there. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. That's it for me. I'm going to allow Mr. Markland to come in at this time. Mr. Larkland, why am I calling you the wrong name?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay,
yes.
All right.
Really quickly, Artavia, I don't know if you saw that question that just came in now.
No, I didn't.
About repeating.
Yeah, some background music here. Okay, go ahead.
What was it? What was the question?
Can you repeat, Orlean Denny wants to know if you can repeat the first step to apply the quiz.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back and share my screen. So the quiz is just like the assignment. It's just like it. You have an option where you can actually create the quiz before you come in here by going to forms at first. Or again, you can, most teachers like to create it right here. So you go to create, that's where you live. You create, go to quiz assignment, and see already the blank quiz is there for you. Of course, you write your title in, test 2, instructions. How do you want them to complete it? When do you want them to complete it? Should they show answers? Be specific. And then just click on the form at the bottom and it brings it up. Now remember, you can put the description of this form there. And then you can also create a background by adding a picture. You can add videos before, and you can start adding the title as well, and so on. These buttons are here for you to add different things. Now, as you're adding questions, say this is question 1, you would add what it is, 2 plus 2 equal, and then you just leave it there. And then the kids will add, of course, you put in your, whether it's multiple choice, you start adding your options, 3, and then you add another option for answering, and then you make sure that you put in your points and your answer key. You select your answer key, so which answer is it? And then you add your points there, and done. Then come back down. You want to check required, because if not, the kids have the option of not responding to it. You always want to do that. And there's additional points here. At this point, I wouldn't say it matters because it's the beginning of the year, but as we go on, we can add different phases to it. And of course, you can see responses when they answer. Once you make sure accepting responses is on, kids can start answering the quiz, and you can see who answered which question correct and so on. By the way, this is a great way to start the year. You know how we would normally do those little sheets and would ask the kids to create an inventory to see, oh, you know, what is your favorite subject? What maybe what's your favorite color? What's your birthday? You can also use this as a way of collecting data on your students, so you have an idea of how am I going to move forward with my very first in-class intervention, my tier, let's say our tier 1 or tier 2 intervention inside my classroom. Get to know what the students' likes are, you know, if they have a favorite character. That's one way that you can use that at the beginning of the year as well. It doesn't have to be like a formal, informal kind of assessment, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And I hope I answered that question for her.
All right, Lachlan.
Yes, I'm ready. Okay.
Yes.
Let me go ahead and share my screen. Yeah, sorry for the background music here. As I mentioned, I'm actually at a resort here in Jamaica, so not much privacy here in terms of sound.
Who would want privacy there, you know, except some hotels and food?
I know. So I'm gonna go. Let's start. I'm gonna maybe recap some of the stuff that Miss Artavia mentioned about slides, for example. But I'm gonna touch on some other areas. So the first thing I want to do to start, I'm gonna go to Google. Since we're using the Google Suite, I'm gonna go to google.com.
Uh-oh, is it just me or is Larkland frozen?
I think he's frozen.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Larkland, you mentioned his connection was a bit unstable.
Yeah. He's probably gonna come back up. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes. You
Okay.
might need to come off camera.
Okay, that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. Okay,
So, yeah.
Yeah, okay, let me do that. Let me just go back to, where am I? Okay, let me stop. Okay, Yeah, all right. So you can hear me, okay? All right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, okay, good. All right, so what I'm gonna say in here is that if you're in Google, that's probably the easiest place to go first. You go here, you have all these different services, you have maps and all that stuff. So what we're focusing on here in this session, for the next probably 10 or so minutes, I'm gonna talk more about how you create content. There's two types of contents you can think about, at least in simple terms, right? Contents that you create for yourself, for your own teaching purpose, and content that you're gonna share with others, okay? So look at it from that perspective. So what we do is we're gonna use slides, and the way I think slides in this context, Artiva kind of mentioned it in terms of interacting with the students. I'm going to think of slides from the perspective of you presenting to the students. So you're creating content that says, you know, typically you would go into your classroom and you already have your talking points. But when you're doing it online, you probably have to use a slide as a way to prompt yourself in terms of what you're going to cover. So that's the way you're going to use slides. Now, docs is another thing where you can do a lot of different things with docs. And of course, we're going to go into video with Loom, but we'll do that last. So we are here at the Google thing, and we want to say, hey, what are we going to select from here? Typically, what I would do, I would go to Drive. I prefer to go to Drive. And the reason why I want to go to Drive is that from there, I can also have a directory where I want to create my content. So let's say I'm here. This are the stuff I created in the last presentation, but I'm just going to create another one here. So I'm just going to create a new folder, for example. Let's say we call this Math 101, you know, for simplicity. And I'm focusing on a math class, right? So I'm going to do all my work around that. So I have this folder here, and notice this folder is empty. Okay, so I have that. So what I want to do now, I want to create some content. So I'm going to start with slides. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, okay, I want to create a new slide. So what I do is I go to the new. Let me just go back here just to make sure it's simple. Click on new. And then here you have some different options, right? You have more, but we're not going to go down to more now. We're going to go to slides. And you have a new slide, just like what Artavia showed earlier. You have the new slides. You can create what they call themes. So everybody have their own taste in terms of how they want things to look. So here you have an option to select different colors of theme, and you can just click on a theme, and it will change the color up to that theme. You can select this one, and it changes the color to this one. So you have that option, right? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the simple one. I just like the simple one for teaching purpose. So here we're going to say presentation 1. And tomorrow is then, I mean, I'm using the US format, but let's say 10/5/10/2020. So I'm going to do presentation tomorrow. So I'm not going to go into how to create a slide too much, but I'm just going to touch on a few important points here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on insert a new slide. So what this does is it creates this new slide where you can type in different text. So just to give some high level pointers, typically what you do is you would probably put an agenda or content, you know, you can use content, and then you can type the points of what you're going to cover in your, you know, let's say you have 5 points that you want to cover, 5 areas you want to cover. So you can do point 1, point 2, and so forth, right? And then what you're going to do, I'm just going to do one more slide. You can just say this is point 1, okay? And of course, you're gonna have content. It's not gonna say point 1, but whatever the point is, you're gonna put that here. But the one thing I wanna call out quickly is that you're gonna have your material that you developed. And we're gonna go into docs in a minute or so. But typically you can actually cut and paste the information you have, right? So if I go, I'm just gonna use an example here. Let me see if I can find something. I'm just gonna open a new window here. I'm just going to find an article. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut, for the sake of interest, this is probably not the best example. I want something with text. Right, so I have this thing with text here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come here and I'm going to use my mouse. I'm going to just scroll over it. I'm going to do Control C. And I come back here and I can paste it here. So whatever I'm going to say on this slide, I can just have the details here. And one of the things I like to do, there are different philosophies about how to create slides, and this can take a whole class by itself. But typically, at least what we, at my work, we tend to keep our slides very minimal in terms of the information on the slide itself, because you want to talk to the points, right? So these points are there to prompt you. And so what we do is we put the point, and then under here, you can put as much content as you want. You can even pull it up. Let me just make sure I'm doing it right. You can pull it up so you can read it better and stuff. So you can do all that kind of stuff, right? So ideally what you'd want to do is keep the slide not too noisy, but put whatever content you have here relating to the point, right? So that's one way to do the slides. And so what I'm gonna do, and I think Octavia already demonstrated this to you, what you can do now, you can actually take the link here. If you're gonna present the slide in a class, virtual class, what you're gonna do now, you're gonna do present. And in present mode, you notice it comes up, look very clean, just like, to be presented, right? So that's kind of a quick and dirty way to do it. You can also take this link, you can take the link here, you can copy the link and you can paste it in your Google Classroom as well. And I probably demonstrate that to you later. I'm just gonna do the docs first, but you can take all of these links with all this content and you can go back to your Google class or Maths 101 or whatever the class is, and you can paste that link into it. But I'll show you that later. I don't want to get you lost there. Okay, so now we did the slides. And again, we'll probably do another session where we go 101 deep into slides. Now we're here, we're in Math 101 again. And now you want to create content, right? So one of the main things you use to do content would be a doc. A doc, if you're familiar with Microsoft Word or some other editor, that's kind of what Google Docs is, right? So if you go to Google Docs, you can just go in here and you can type whatever you want. For example, you want to do a lesson plan. You can just type in lesson plan, you can, put subject, put dates, you can put objectives and those kind of things, right? So you can just type free form here and, you can just call it lesson plan, Math 101, and I'm gonna give it a name here. So you can just do that. So you can type whatever you want here. So naturally with your lesson plan, this is most likely for yourself. You're gonna you may share it with some other teachers or your head of department so for them to know what you're doing. But here you're gonna just type freeform, what you want to type. You can also share it as well. So now that you do it, you may want to get some, let's say you're a young teacher and you're just getting the hang of how to present or how to develop lesson plans. You can come here and you can add in, somebody who's mentoring you. Here, you can just type their email address, like I can just type, I'll just use my own email address here, and you can just say, this is the draft plan, right? And then you can share that to them. And they can actually edit as well. So they can edit and maybe make some points on it and say, get back to you. So one of the beauty about this, in the past, if you're familiar with Microsoft Word, is that you would do it on your own computer. But as you notice here, I'm doing this in a browser. So this is actually shared already by definition. So all you have to do is go here and share it with somebody else and they can edit, you can collaborate. And that's such a powerful thing. So even though we might see this being locked up as a challenge, there are some opportunities here in which we can work better as well by using some of these tools. So that's using Word and using more of a doc type approach. For the interest of time, what I'm going to do, there's another type of content that you want. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, I hear, see internet unstable. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can still hear you.
Okay. I know I got this sign about internet unstable, so I just want to make sure. Okay, so the other tool I want to share is, so we discussed slides, using a slide for doing your presentation, or as Artiva mentioned, you can do it, interact with students, use it for interactive purposes. We talk about docs. And with docs, you can do pretty much anything. You can take notes with it, you can write your lesson plan, and you can write a document on the subject, on the like if you want to write something about physics, about acceleration, for example, you can just write a paper on it and just publish that to the students in docs. The other thing that's really powerful for online learning is video. So the tool that we're going to share with you today, and we shared it last week, was a tool called Loom. And you can do a lot of stuff with it for free. So here you have, it's called at loom.com, loom.com. So that's one thing you can do. And then what you can do, you can say, get Loom for free. We're gonna start with that. And you have different options to sign up. So since you already have a Google account, what I would say for simplicity, I would just say, go ahead and say sign up with Google, okay? So we're gonna do sign up with Google. I think I already have an account, so I'm just gonna pick the one that I'm using here. And you can just pick whatever account that you would have been using from Google. And you're gonna agree to the terms. If you're the legal type, you may wanna read through, but most times, we might get in trouble. We don't necessarily read all of that stuff. Now, what do you wanna use Loom for? They're just asking some question. I'm gonna say I'm a teacher. And here I'm gonna give you two options here. So one of the things I mentioned last week is that I personally prefer to use it as an extension of Chrome, meaning that it comes up on Chrome and you can just click on the icon and get started, right? The other thing you have is you can download it on your desktop. So I think if you're on a tablet, it will be different options, and maybe we may have to do another session where we talk about the tablet options out there. Because I know I saw some questions earlier about doing stuff on tablets. So I think the app that runs on the desktop will be different than what's on the tablet. So typically what you do here, I would go for the Chrome extension. And let me just move this down. So what you can do, if you notice here at the top, and I'll show you what happened here. So after you install it, typically when you install it, it's gonna come up and it's gonna be here. And this is gonna be white, which means it's not pinned to the toolbar, right? And the reason why you're not seeing it on the toolbar is because it's not pinned. So when I go here and I press this pin, it appears here as an icon, okay? So when it appears on an icon, that's good, because now what I can do now, I can just go ahead and press this and it's ready to go, literally. And it's asking me if I want to record my full desktop. And you notice I'm here on the left side, I'm showing up in a little window down there. And if I say start recording, it's basically going to record my desktop. So let me just select that I'm just going to do it for 2 seconds. And it gives me a few seconds to get ready. And boom, yeah, we're creating a video now. So I'm here, I'm going to create a video. I'm just going to click on some random stuff just for the sake to show that. And what I can do here, I can go to my slide now and I can start to present my slides. So this is a slide I'm going to be presenting to the class. So I can present the slides, go through that. And then when I'm done, I can go and say stop sharing. So once I stop sharing, it will make a video. So the video is ready to go. And typically what you can do, you have two options after you do that. There are two options. You can copy this link and you can paste it in WhatsApp. I have WhatsApp on my desktop because I use it all the time, but I can also paste it in my Google Classroom. So let's go to Google Classroom for a second. Let's go here, and I'm gonna click on this thing again, the same one you saw in Google. And I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna go to Google Classroom. And this is what we created last week, right? So I'm just gonna click on this. Okay, and so I'm in the class now, and I'm gonna go to classwork. And let's say I want to add something here. I'm gonna add a material, and I'm gonna call this math refresher. Okay, and I called it math refresher and I described it. This is a class to back on track. That's concepts. Okay, so I put the description here, and then what I can do is add, and I can say a link. So I click on the link, and I take the video link that I just had a while ago, and I press add link. And it will kind of process it, and it probably will come up and show you, that this is a video from Loom and stuff. So right away, this video is actually in your classroom. Now, the way to get it out there to people is that, as Octavia mentioned earlier, you can actually schedule it, or you can just post it right away. I'm just going to post it right away for the sake of time. And it's posted, and it's right here. So you click on it, and it's there. You can just click on the video, and you can play the video, right? So yeah, we're creating a video. Right. So see, there it is. We actually created a video there, and the student would have had that on their side to look at. And So that's pretty much it. The other thing we can go back and add, we can add another link and we can put the slides as well. But this is the same process. You pretty much create, put the materials and put a title, description, and you have different options here. And I think I mentioned last week, you can also, if you find a good video on YouTube, for example, you can just go here and search for it if you know what keyword to use. You can search for, I like space actually. So I'm gonna always navigate to stuff like that. So let's say I want to do a documentary in deep space. So you can just literally go to YouTube directly, search for the video, look for the right one, and add it directly here. And you can probably just put a title, overview, right? And then you can describe it. And one other thing I'll share as well, one of the things we try to do, you have data, you have information. The video itself is information, but also what people want is insight. So you can provide typically what we do is we try to put the description as more of an insight. That's kind of a best practice that we follow versus just tell them what's in the video. Just give them something that jumps out from the video, right? And they can also watch the video as well and they can give their own insight. So sometimes when you're describing stuff, using insights is a better way than just to put the raw information out there. So I think I'll stop here and then we can get into some Q&A. I think we're over time, I think.
Well, we're right in the middle of the second session.
Okay.
Intermediate, but this is intermediate, so we're doing good. We're doing good.
Okay. So I can keep going. Maybe I can spend maybe 5 more minutes and then.
Yes. And we want to, if you can talk a little bit about the slides. Somebody is asking how to set the slide, the transition time between the slides.
Oh, it's transition time. Okay. Yeah, I'll get back into that. Okay, that's good stuff. Right. Oh, that's good. All right, so that's good. So we touch on the video. Let me just close off on the video stuff. I think we touch on that. One more thing I want to talk about on Loom before we go is that you can also create different folders and stuff. So you can create a new folder which can match your class, right? So we can create a folder, like call it, and then once you create that folder now, what you can do is record videos in that folder. So you can structure your stuff here. So you can, when you go back there, you're not all over the place, especially as you build out more videos, because over time you probably end up with 100 videos over time, right? Because one of the other best practices I've seen as well is to keep videos relatively short. When I say short, if you can keep each of them to about 5 minutes or so. I mean, 10 minutes is fine. You can do even 30 minutes if you want, but people have attention span. So what you want to do is, I think 5 minutes is kind of like a good sweet spot from what I've seen, but you can still have the same, more content, but just split them up into shorter bits. And then people can watch one video, take notes on that, and then go back, to watch a second video and all that kind of stuff. So that's one way to do it. It's more of a preference how you prefer to share content, but using those 5-minute videos can be a little better in terms of video. Okay, so good. So let's go back to slides. I kind of rushed through it because I thought we didn't have a lot of time. So what I'm gonna do, let me just probably add a few more slides just for the sake of conversation here. And maybe I'll just put point 2 here. Okay. Good to have content on here because when you're doing the slideshow, it looks very empty. So I'm gonna add some content, and then
and Lachlan, also that from Artavia, just to highlight a little bit more about the slides that you need. Definitely what you're saying, that you need content on it because it's like your blackboard. That's what you're teaching from. So you need content on it. For
Yes. That's so true. So typically, I'm gonna go back over the kind of the flow, right? So the assumption here is that you're gonna, this is the start of the school year. you're gonna do a presentation on, you know, mathematics, English, or whatever the subject is. And so you'd call it, and I'll just give it a name here for the sake of, let's call it the one, right? And so this is your first day presenting the class. And naturally, you're going to do this online, as we have been speaking about the last week or so, that this is an online class because you're not going to be walking to the classroom, you know, because of certain restrictions, right? So you're going to present this to your students, right? So you have a title, and the title will show up here. We can just, typically, what happens is, you know, you can actually go here and it will automatically take whatever title you put here. So typically it comes up with untitled. So if you, once you click inside, I'm going to do it again, just for the sake of emphasis. So it says untitled presentation, right? I type my title here. When I clicked on this, it automatically takes this. I can change it up here, of course. I can change this if I want, but this is becoming the title now, or the name of the slides, right? So now, typically when we create slides, different people have different approach. You probably may want to do a storytelling approach, whereby you just go into a story. But in this case, I'm just going to say, let's use a traditional approach for simplicity. And you may call it an agenda or content. This is what we're going to cover. And I kind of use the word points here, just to keep it neutral. So we just say, you know, we're going to cover 4 points today in this class, right? We don't want to overload the students with too much content, right? So we're going to cover these 4 points. We mention what each point is. The thing I mentioned earlier is that you can put some speaker notes here. So instead of putting a lot of content on the slide itself, you can put your speaker note down here. So when you're presenting, you can just recall what to speak to. And you type the content down here, right? Detailed content here. Okay, so you have that. And then of course you'd go and now talk about the first point, and you would have additional content here, right? So you would talk through and you know, write out. Again, the best way to do it is using bullet points, and I'm gonna illustrate that as well. Let me just add line 2. Okay, so what we're going to do here, another tip I want to share with you here is that there's a thing called a bullet point, right? So what you can do is you can click on this, and then what you're going to do is go up here, and typically you would have these options. You click on this, the 3 dots here for more, and then if you just scroll over these, you would see like different things like numbered bullet points and stuff, right? So I'm just gonna go to bullet point and I'll select the basic one. And you can see you have a bullet point here. Sometimes you don't want it to be jumbled up. So what you do is you go to format and you can do spacing. So I would just use add a line, you know, add a space after line item, a list item. So you get a space, so it looks more, you know, cleaner and stuff. So you can do it like that as well. So, you know, we can go into a lot more in slides. I mean, there's so much stuff you can learn. Let's walk through some of the options here. Some of the options here you have is that you can insert, and I think Octavia mentioned earlier, you can insert an image. You can also insert a table. So let's say you want to do a little table here. You can just insert a table. You can reposition it, and you can type whatever you want in the table, right? So you have all these different options. You can insert an image, you can insert a video, because sometimes you want to play a video to the students directly. And I'm going to add that for illustration, because I think that's something you may want to do frequently. So I'm just going to add a new slide here. I'm going to delete this text box, demo video. Yeah, so video is a good one to do. Sometimes you want to play a video, canned video for them. So you go and say insert video. I'm going to just use YouTube for now. And I'm going to type, let's say, just stick with maths. I'm just going to find a short video. Yeah, this one looks, okay, I'll just use that one. We're not going to watch it anyway. So this video will show up here, and I'm going to demonstrate what it looks like when you play it in a minute. So you have that here, and you can, as I said, you can put some speaker notes. After you watch the video, you can take some notes, and so you can talk to what it's representing, right? So now we have that video. Again, you can have more contents here. Use a bullet point. You go here, go to more, and you can do bullet points. You have, if you notice here, you have multiple options. Some people have different tastes in how their bullets look. You can use a square one. You can use the, the star looking one and stuff, or a spade. So now you have that. You can add multiple points here. Again, keep the slides clean. I like to take that approach myself. So now you have the slide and you want to present, right? So you have stuff you can do. There's a thing called transition. And you can do all kind of stuff with the transition, right? So you can use fade away and flip. I don't personally don't care about those. Those are like more advanced stuff if you really want to. You don't really need it. You can do different orders and stuff, and you can also hide a slide as well. So when you're presenting a slide, you can actually hide it. You can say skip slide, right? So if you skip this slide, and I'm gonna give you a quick demo. So if I come here and I do presentation, if you notice that it skipped that slide that I said skip, so it doesn't show up. And the reason why you do this, sometimes when you're doing your slides, you have some notes that you want to take to yourself, and you don't want to show them to the outside world. So you can just use a skip slide as a way to avoid, showing stuff to people that you don't want them to see. So that's an option you can exercise as well. And so let's go back and walk through the presentation itself, right? So there's nothing really, but I'm just going to show you how it would flow. You're in the class and you're presenting. So you go to presentation mode and you have, this is your title slide. You can just introduce them to what you're going to talk about. And then you talk about the 4 points you're going to cover. If you notice though, is that your talking points that you put in the speaker notes, that's not going to show up on this slide here. So you have to, remember that, it's just there as a prompter. So you have it, you can remind yourself what you're going to talk about. But when you're presenting, it's not going to show up on the screen, okay? And you have the point 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And you have point 1 and you go through that. Point 2 again. And now you have the video, right? So if you want to play the video, you can just play the video right inside the slides. And you notice you don't go into YouTube, it's playing right here in the slides.
I want to share the most beautiful equation in math with you.
This can be powerful because naturally, all of us would leverage from others when we're doing our work. We don't necessarily know everything. So if somebody has a good presentation on YouTube, you can actually leverage that right into your slides as well. So that's one thing there. So transition, I think in docs are thing I've never really. Let me just check here if they have a time thing. I know in PowerPoint you have a time, you can set a time.
Yeah.
Like especially if you do a demo.
Ortega is gonna touch on it a little bit more. She has some slides that she wants to show them with the with the timing and all of that.
Okay, sure. She can do that. Yeah, normally I don't really use a timing thing personally.
Right. I don't do it either.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay. So Octavia, I can turn over to you now because I was pretty much done in terms of the basic stuff that I wanted to cover. We can just go into Q&A. Let me stop.
Yeah, we're gonna stop and take up just about 2 or 3 questions and answer them. We're gonna answer them, and then Octavia, you can share your screen again and go through it quickly. Right? Yeah. We're gonna answer about 2 or 3 of them. One of them said, I pull up this site here with questions. One of them said, ask, meat, but we're not going into meat so much. And they ask how we can, let me see if I find it. To use Loom recording. How do we could we use Loom to record Meet, Google Meet? And
so that's a good question. That's true. So that's a good question because Google Meet itself, the free version doesn't allow you to record it.
Mm-hmm. What I was
I
saying
personally haven't tried.
But what I was saying is because you record your screen with, and it's a screen recorder.
Yeah.
So they could just turn it on and do the meet, and it would automatically record it, everything.
Yes. Yeah. So experimentally, yes. I've never done it with the meet stuff. But yeah, that's one way you could do it. You could try it. I think it's plausible. It's feasible. I think that's feasible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The other one, it's saying how you upload plans, lesson plans, on the computer in Google Classroom or Docs or in Drive, in order for other teachers to manipulate it, to edit it. So I think where people are getting at is to upload documents and share them with other people so they can go into the same document and edit it no matter where they are.
So Larkman, that is the Drive where they create a workspace when they're sharing lesson plans with multiple people. You first create the workspace and then you give access to everyone within the group. So if you could show them how to create like a workspace and then name it and then,
And by extension too, before you get into the workable part of it, is to principals can also allow their teachers to create that space and upload lesson plans in there, and they can go in and grade their lesson plans in there too. So yes, go ahead, Dr. Yes.
Yeah, sure. So let's clarify one thing here. So if there's two type of Google account, right? You have the enterprise one and you have the kind of the free one. So I'm gonna show you. Let me do this quickly. I'm gonna go to Google. I'm gonna log into my work one. So at Facebook we have a Google account, right? So I'm gonna show you just for the sake of illustration here. I'm logged into my work account, and I'm gonna go into Drive. Let me just move this thing down. Okay, so I'm in Drive, and you notice they have a thing called shared drive here. There's a thing called shared drive, right? So when you have the enterprise version, you have a shared drive, and you can just create this new drive, and you can say, and I just call it lesson. I can delete it later. You can call it lesson plans.
Let's say 4th grade lesson plan.
Yeah, 4th grade lesson plan, right? 4th grade.
Yeah, good one.
Lesson plan. Yeah. Okay. And you can say 2020, and then you create that, and you basically have that drive. So now you can go and manage members, right? So now you can go and add the members here. I'm gonna just add myself just for sake of simplicity. Shared lesson plans.
And that's the message you would send to your teachers or group.
Yes, it would send to them. Yeah, yes. And then you have an option here in terms of what options they have, right? So here you can say they can contribute, like they can edit files, they can add and edit files, they can add, they can delete files as well. Notice the contributor cannot delete files, they can only edit and add, but you might want to make them content, as long as you trust them, you can make them content owners. And so you send this invite to them, and they should have access to that drive, okay? Now, what you can do now, I'm gonna just use another illustration now. Now that we have this drive, you can go to new, and if you notice under new, you have two options. You can actually upload a folder. We're not gonna do the folder today, but you can actually do a file upload here, which means you have a file on your computer. And I'm just gonna see if I can find something that's not too confidential that I can share. Let me share this. I mean, I bought this for my son before. It was a son. So I can upload this, and this now comes up in the drive. And it's now available for people to edit as well. And one of the cool things, I'm gonna see if I can find a Google Doc, not a Google Doc, a regular Word doc. Should be able to find one that's not too much of trouble. Yeah, there's should be one in here somewhere. I'm just trying to find if I can find a Word doc. Okay, so there's a Word doc here. I'm gonna show you a cool trick with this actually. So this is a Word doc that you uploaded to your drive. Now, typically it's a slightly different format from Google Drive. So what you can do, you can open it, you can say open with Google Docs, and now it basically turned it into a Google Doc now, because before it was a Word doc. So now it become a Google Doc, or you can just say, you know what, save as Google Doc, right? So you're hoping as a Google Doc, but now you can save it as a Google Doc as well. And now it become a native Google Doc versus just a Word doc, you know? And typically the good news is that the format for both of them are pretty similar nowadays. They're so close together nowadays, there's not much difference. So now you have this document now inside of your drive that we just created. And I can just come out of this. So the drive, the doc is here. This is the Google Doc version. You notice the Word one still has the DOCX on it. This one is a straight native Google Doc now. You can share it, somebody else can edit it and stuff within the drive. So that's how you can upload stuff. You're just using new. If you have a whole folder that you want to upload, you just upload the whole folder. Or you can just upload a single file that's using this one. And you just select which file you want to, you know, you can just select that one and just upload. So you can upload multiple files as you see fit, right? Any other questions? Or was that questions answered properly? I guess any?
Yeah, I think so. We all just need to go in and manipulate it. You know, go in, check it out. You won't go wrong about anything. And,
okay, one more thing on the share, Dwayne. Sorry to cut you. One thing on the share is
fine.
If you don't have the, if you don't have the regular one, if you don't have the enterprise one, and you only have like this one without the share drive, you can actually go here and create a directory here. So you can just create another folder. And the same thing we did a while ago, right? 4th grade.
That's what I think many of the teachers should do, because I don't think they have the enterprise version. So you just need to create the folder.
Yes, exactly. And I'm going to show the illustration now because that's important. So what I'm going to do, now that I have this folder, I'm going to share it, right? So I'm going to share it here, and I'm just going to give it to my Facebook. So that way I can, since I'm already logged in over there. So I'm going to share it here and send it here. So now I share this, I can upload files into it just as I showed you with the other one. So if I come over here, I want to illustrate this because this is very important, right? So if I come here, what I'm going to do on my other account, I'm going to go to shared with me. So it's going to show up on the shared with me. So this is the thing shared with me, right? So it's right here. So this is the actual folder. It's going to show up on the shared with me. But there's a trick you can use here. You can actually right click on it. And you can say add a shortcut to drive, right? So if I do add a shortcut to drive, I can just put it in my regular Google Drive, stuff. I can put it somewhere, I can put it at the root stuff, or I can put it, sometimes I have this general directory called Jamaica, right? So I just put it there. So I don't need to go to shared with me. If I go back to my main drive here and I go to Jamaica, I have a shortcut that's here. So I can just click on that shortcut and it take me into that drive, so it automatically does that. So instead of looking for shared with me, I can just stay within my own structure and find it there as well. And do whatever. And I can upload file as well to it because I have the ability to edit this drive as well. So that's the way you would do it with the regular, regular Google Drive. You just create a directory and share it, basically, in a nutshell.
Yes. And also to add to you, Larkland, guys, you're not gonna have so many files in yours as Larkland because you haven't been doing a lot with Google Drive right now. So it will be easier for you to go through with your account, yes. All right, the other one, I think you can answer this one too. It's archive. Talk a little bit about how they can archive in Google Classroom or the Drive. To archive something.
Okay. When you say archive, I mean, I think the way I would consider it, archive doesn't mean you want to take it and put it away somewhere that it doesn't, you don't overload yourself, right? So what I would do, I'll just give you my tip on how I would do it. I would just go back to Drive. I would just, you could just create an archive folder, pretty much. I would just create a folder here because you want to go back to it at some point, right? When you do archive, just like in the old days, in the old days, you want to go back to the file room and find stuff you Right, so you just create a folder and just say, hey, you know, whenever I'm done with stuff, I can just move it over there. So I have this archive here. I can just, if I had something, let me just put something in here for illustration. I just upload a file. Upload new file, upload file. So I just upload, any of these is fine. Just, yeah, I'm just gonna put another one. Okay. So I have these file in here and stuff, right? So at the end, like for example, and a good example of that now is that this whole folder here is for the year 2020, right? So if I say, okay, 2020 is done, need to start fresh for 2021, I can just take this folder and just drag it and drop it in here, right? So it become part of the archive now. And then now I can just create the 2021 one, right? So that's one way to do it. I mean, that's just my best practice I would do.
Yes.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Artavia, you ready?
Okay, our turn. All right, so let me stop sharing and then let her share.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes. I'm gonna switch over back to you. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so just to show you some finished products that you can implement before we leave. Sorry, that thing was a lot up in there. All right, so this is an example of slides for lessons. And I know Larklin said it several times, you know, don't put too much on the slide, but that doesn't mean that you can't put enough, because remember, the slides are going to be available usually for the students to do their own work on their own. So this was something from last year. I taught 4th grade, and this was a progression of lessons over a 2-week period of time. So let's see, this was Monday. And if you noticed, I made it minimal. What they need to do, identify key points in author made. This is the text. And in addition to the text, I get a picture and I put it on there, because we still have to think about universal design of learning. You have to cater to all learners. So one type of learner is a visual learner. So and if you have students who are special ed or below, then you still have to cater to them. So you have to give them some kind of picture to make them imagine what is happening in the book. Sentence frames, another way that would differentiate. So, and then the page that they're supposed to read that day and which paragraphs. And quick and easy, don't need to be long and intense. You get your bullet points and you tell them in steps, what do you need to do? First you do this, then you do this, then this, then this. And I'll just, before I move to the next day to show you what another day would look like, you could take a picture of the screen real quick. That can help you. So this would suit 2nd grade up. Your slides would look more like this. Here is another day. This was Tuesday. What do they have to do? Read and explain what the text says. So again, picture of the book that they're supposed to read. Add a picture to help them think about what they're supposed to learn. Make sure you put details, but it doesn't have to be in sentence. Again, bullet points. Early workers, California farm workers in the 19th century, page 13 to 14, paragraphs 3 to 6. Again, what do I want you to do? This is how I want you to talk or share your idea. I can predict that, I think that, according to. And then another day, maybe I should go back and count 10 seconds so you could take a picture if you haven't taken a snapshot. And that will help you to build your slides, because it has to have enough details where the students can work on their own, because it's not a brick and mortar classroom, it's virtual. So you kind of have to put some details, but not too much. Don't overwhelm it. And then for Wednesday, what do they need to do? If you notice, this is like your objective, but in simplified words. So draw inferences is what you have to do. Here is what you're looking at, 20th century hardships. These are your pages, those are your paragraphs. This is how I want you to speak or write. This is the book, some pictures for the kids to relate to. What am I wanting you to talk about? These are high topics, and instead of putting words, use pictures. And again, step-by-step instruction of how to do it. Earlier, I spoke about putting a rubric on. This helps. This is a copy of a good rubric for grades 1 all the way up to the end of high school. This lets the kids know what you want them to do when they do their work. So this is Monday writing. Use a rubric to self-assess my work. This is what I want you to do. Did I do these things? If I did, check them off. If I didn't, check it off. If I'm not sure, check it off. And this goes into your conference. I know it's difficult when the kids are left on their own because they're not in class and you're not there to give that immediate feedback. So this is why presenting a self-assessment rubric on a slide into your classroom assignments or material will help your students to be able to accomplish the exact goal of your lessons. So hopefully you've taken a picture of it by now. And again, see, I put a picture of the text. Always try to do that. If it's a separate book from a school textbook, create a picture of the text, because the kids are gonna start asking, which text you want me to look on? You know, so you have to make sure that when you present these slides, that little elements of it is on there like this. And in your open house or your back to school or your first day of school, these are the things you explain. You know, so make sure you have some template developed before, you know, you get into your classwork and assignments. There was a question asked last time about schedule. This is a schedule that shows the kids what you expect of them, and it still gives time for break. If you notice, I actually inserted links to websites that they need to go to practice, like fluency for math, fluency for language arts. And I also gave them codes that they can use as well to go in. That would be like my classroom code. And see, I highlighted key points in the schedule to help the kids. Zoom ID, passwords, doesn't work anymore. But math, what time they log in, I specifically show that there's a 5-minute period that they need to log in. So after that, I'm saying to them, you're late if it gets to 10:20 and you're not in. And then again, subject area shifts, And also I included PE, take a 30-minute walk with your family, have meaningful conversation, and office hours. So this is one thing that you can do. And again, look, I created a Google slide to do that on there. And all I did was insert a table, like Larklin showed you earlier, insert the table so that you can have that. And this goes for the whole week. So the kids know for the whole week, I just need to refer to the slide. Where did I put it? In their materials folder so that they can see it. And if you have small group instruction, make sure that you know, kids know what time they're supposed to sign on. So I would create a small group kind of chart, and I would write down the kid's name on the charts, who's in group A, who's in group B, who's in group C. And so if I'm meeting with them, I might put a meeting time on my thing, and I would say group A. So the kids know, oh, I'm in group A, so I need to meet at this time with my teacher for a small group, maybe homework, assignment, assistance, because you know that they don't have it. So this is like a quick thing and a nice way to let your kids know what is expected of them throughout the day. And also to help parents too know, okay, well, these are the things that they're supposed to do each day. There's one more thing. Someone asked me about grading. So in Google Classroom, when you go to look at the student assignments, remember I showed you that little cheat sheet where you go to, let's see, let me go back here. This is like an old one, but you go over here to these 3 dots and see where it says review. That's what you would click on. It will give you the layout of what is due. You choose the assignment and then you start looking at it. So if I'm going to grade this assignment now, I basically ask the student to send this again for me. Here's what I would see. I would look at the student's work, and if you notice, there's a plus sign here. So one of the things that she had to do was she had to get a picture and put it in her work to show what she's done. Once she's done that, I can make a comment by just clicking on that. See, it highlights the picture, and I can say something back to her like, you know, I could show the points, okay, 5 points if that was the agreed upon, 5 points for including picture. You get the drift. I'm not gonna spell that all out. And then I would add comment. Now, if I wanted to correct the comment, I can go back and I can also click on the 3 little dots. I can't see because my page is not extended. 3 little dots next to it. And I can edit, I can delete that comment, or I can link this comment to something else, okay? I can read her first paragraph and say she has a word misspelled or something. I can highlight that sentence, and once I've highlighted that area, see the plus sign comes up. I can click on the plus sign and I can add comment, great point. Or I can, if it's a rubric and I was grading that she had an introduction, I could have added points, 20 points. And I can put Y for introduction. Now again, this is grade 4. So really a second grader work would not look as intense as this, unless your expectations is like mine. Your second graders might write like this. But and so on. You look out for headings. If headings was something, you would add that, okay, headings included, blah, 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 and you add your comment again, right? Now, at the end of all of this, on this side of your screen, you're going to see a total number for the grade. Now, this is being graded out of 100. So when I add up all my points that's here at the end, and let's say it added up to 92, I would put 92 out of 100. And good teachers always give feedback, right? So where it says private comments, you would tell her why she scored 92 and what could she have done to get that additional 8%. So that takes care of how you would grade a Google Doc. Now I wanted to find a math one, but I didn't have much time. It would be the same thing, basically. This was an assignment that I kind of gave the students. They had to come up with a blueprint. This one wasn't finished, but say I'm grading it, it would be the same thing. I would be able to go into my assignment, select the blueprint, look at what the students did, grade it. All right, so with that, I'm gonna stop sharing. And if there's any questions on the whole grading portion, then I'll answer it.
No, I don't see any questions for the grading.
No?
No. All right, so one question we see here is for, if you're teaching different subjects, should you create different classes for those subjects?
Yeah. You would.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you my daughter's teacher's class. Do not add her class, she will kill me. But I'm gonna try to show you her class. I don't know if I stopped sharing or am I still sharing? I'm not sharing,
No,
right?
Just stop sharing, yes.
Okay. All right, hang on, let me just find the password. So that way. And I'll show you the layout of that classroom. One second, I'm putting in our password. One quick second, it's coming right up. All right, so now I will share my screen. So this is a first grade class, but she has different subjects and she has different teachers. Most upper education classroom would look like this. So if you notice, like, these are the different classrooms. So when she goes into her platform, she's seeing all her different classes. So if you're a teacher and you teach different grade levels, then on your platform, it's gonna look kind of like this. First grade Spanish, second grade Spanish, third grade Spanish, fourth grade Spanish, and so on, right? Wherever you're teaching. If you have 8 classes, all 8 classrooms would be here. And depending on the name of the class, that's how you click on it and then go in and search for it. If that answers
that does answer the question, yes.
Okay.
So that it's one teacher right there with different classes.
Yeah.
So that does answer the question, yes. So you want to make sure you do it. Register. Can you go, Artiva, go over the roster in Google Classroom how to take attendance real quick?
All right, so I think with the free version, you don't get this because I only see it. There is a roster. What you can do, okay, well, first of all, you have to define attendance, because if you're in a rural area where students do not have access, you cannot mark them absent just because they didn't sign into your Zoom class. That is not showing equity. So for equity's sake, if a child logs in and do their work each day, no matter what, that would count as a presence for us, a student being present for us. Now your school have to define what that is for you. Google Spreadsheet is the best way right now to do it. I don't think you have the attendance roster. For me, I do have it, but I don't think you guys were given that. I'm using when I use my free version, I don't see it. But when I use my work version, I can see that one. But yeah, it's in here, but then let me go to my other version.
Potentially, just one quick point, Artavia. One thing they could do, they could use Google Forms as well as a way to capture this stuff into the spreadsheet.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So basically, you have to use this one. Where is it? Actually, you can use Sheet. I would say use Sheets. Okay. In the summertime, I used Sheets and it was like really great. All I did was just put the names in the left column. Actually, you might be able to see it because, yep, it is showing in there, actually. I'll show you. If you go to Sheets, there's one for attendance. Sorry, I'm clicking on it, but my thing is taking a long time. It's the second one here that says attendance. You can use that to show, and it actually, it has all the parts already there for you. Let me just refresh. Let's see if it'll come up any faster. There you go. So your student's name would go here. There are 4 different ways to say if a student is late, it would be L. I wouldn't use that because that's not equity. So if the student is absent and the parent told you, you would use an E on that date. And if it's an unexcused, it would be a U. So I would use P, E, and U. I would not use late. But again, that's depending on your school site. And that's found under Sheets.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, there's no more at all. Okay. There's one person who just came in asking for subjects again, and I'll just answer them. If you're teaching different classes, you need to create different classrooms for those different classes. You don't want to get all the students all mumble jumble up in one class. You really need to create classrooms for them, for each class. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Lachlan. You want to say something?
I think I see a question here about how to show with the paid version. I think somebody asked, Donetta was asking if we can show attendance with the paid version.
Yeah, actually, it's in the unpaid version. I just discovered that. So paid or unpaid, it's in there.
Okay.
I was certain it was available for the paid, but we just checked for unpaid and it's there.
Okay, so somebody, Miss Robertson said so, that the ministry's account, the Google account come from them, that they do have the sheets labeled for attendance. That's very good. That's good. That's a plus. Okay, so I think we can close off here until later on, maybe another 2 weeks. But also, ladies and gentlemen, please Google for parents this Thursday evening. Trying to work out the time now because everybody is busy. But on Thursday, we'll have Google for parents. It's strictly for parents. If any teachers want to ask questions, they can come in, just like parents intruding in the other ones that we have had. You can come on to, but remember that it's parent focused to get parents access to it, just like how we have been helping out here to give everybody access to the Google platform in general. Let's go around the room and make our final comments, Lachlan and Artavia, before we sign off. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. I mean, I think it was good. I mean, going back to what I mentioned again, is in terms of creating content, you have all of these options. You can use your slides, you can use docs to do different things. And also video is very powerful. So Loom is a good one. I mean, there are other ones out there, but I think Loom is a good one to use. But, you know, I think practice is critical. Just practice and just create an account and play around with it. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. I think those are the key things to move forward. And ask questions, of course. Okay.
And just piggybacking on what Larkin said, it's very, very important that you do practice. Take the time, learn the craft so you can explain it better to your kids. Don't forget, primarily, your role as a teacher. And so, you know, we understand what our duties are. We understand how our students learn. We understand the importance of using this platform in a way that is not exactly the same as the classroom. That is first and foremost. You have to understand that. So engagement is going to mean something very, very different. And I've been doing this for the past month and a half. So I've met some of it. I'm sure Dr. Dice have already met some of the constraints. As you go along, just be flexible. That's the word for the year. Flexibility and taking time out to breathe, you know, and giving your students the time to breathe. You're gonna be amazing. By the time we're all finished, we're gonna be asking Larkland for a job over there at Facebook. We're gonna be experts. Don't be scared. Just try it.
Yeah, start now.
It's that time. All right, thank you very much. I love the partnership. This is very, very good. And we just want to wish you guys well, especially tomorrow morning, the first day of school in Jamaica. Yeah. Wishing you a very, very good first day. As my colleagues here said, that please do not panic. The first day might be probably your worst day ever, but do not panic, okay? Just treat it as your best day ever for learning. Yeah, okay, because you're going out in the unknown and nobody knows what's gonna happen. So just treat it as your best day ever. It's not the worst. Yeah. Okay, so but we're gonna touch base with you guys later on to see how you're doing. And we're not gonna leave you guys alone. We're gonna have some follow-up sessions throughout, especially now until December. We're watching to see what happens, but we're gonna have follow-up sessions as the need arises. Okay, have fun tomorrow. We want to know about it. If you want to post in the classroom that Artavia created, tell us about your experience as you go through the week, actually, you know.
As we're closing out, can I show some people shared their slides with me, and I just my personal pride. you know, I want to like show it, but you keep talking while I pull it up.
Yeah, so, but I want to say, the people who have come on, who have tried, about 1,000 of you today and the other times, I want to say, wonderful, you're stepping out in the unknown, and it really takes faith, especially when you have no idea what these platforms hold for you guys. And that's the first part of learning, is to just step out there in the unknown, not knowing what is going to happen. And you just come out learning at least how to log on. It's a very good step that you have taken. See, yeah, we can see them. Wow. So these
yeah,
are the
I'm
ones.
so proud. Yes, people
Oh,
making slides. So proud of you guys.
Yeah, that's,
you know, your hard work is gonna be paid off. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I got those dimples looking at them. Like, you guys are awesome. Yeah.
That's very, very good. Very, very good. All right. Now, what you do not get tonight, don't stress yourself. Make sure you get a good night's sleep. And tomorrow afternoon, you can try again to fix anything that is unfinished. Okay. Do not stress yourself out tonight to do a whole lot of things. Get some rest. And one last thing is to make sure that the ministry, if they're providing login codes and email addresses for teachers, make sure you get in touch with your principals. We have some principals on here. Make sure that we hand out stuff, login information for teachers, so they don't use especially their personal emails, these things, if you have school-related emails. Okay, Artavia, see you. And Larkland,
yeah, man. Thanks.
Good luck over there. I envy you so badly. But,
yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, it's actually very safe here, actually. It's quite safe.
Yeah.
The only problem was the traveling. I was risky, but once you're here, it's pretty safe.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So you have to stay for 14 days in
No, not really. I don't have any restriction. I only have to stay in the tourist area, but I don't have any app to track me or anything. Yeah, they don't say. Yeah.
Oh,
so
man.
pretty flexible.
Hint. Here I come.
I know. I need a vacation so badly.
Oh, God, me too.
Okay.
You feel like I'm at home under arrest. What do you call that? Home arrest?
Oh, house arrest.
Yeah. No.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Oh, I want to say, go ahead, Larkin.
No, I said take care. I mean, I was saying take care now.
Oh, yeah. And I want to say, all of us to say, especially on this panel, special thank you to Kimon.
Kimon, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well in the background there for technical stuff. Thank you so much, Kimon. Nobody sees you, but you're right there like the wind.
Funny.
Right there. Thank you so much. As usual. All right, everybody, take care. Have a nice Sunday evening. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Yes. Take care.